Hi everyone, this is Migs from Sneaks and Ball PH, and once again I'm here with Coach Carl and Dom, our resident sports analyst. So Game 3 just happened and we did not expect that at all. The Lakers came out pretty flat. They had a bunch of turnovers in the first quarter alone. They ended up finishing with, 19 turnovers, and that's never gonna get the job done. Jimmy Butler had a 40-point triple-double, joining Jerry West and LeBron as the only people to do so. He played out of his mind, and as JJ Redick said in his podcast a while ago, this is probably the best game that Jimmy has ever played. And you have to hand it to the Heat, because even though the Lakers were a bit off their game, the Heat still had to go out and take it because, the Lakers weren't going away. They were pretty much there until around the last 2 minutes of the game when, nothing was falling. Danny Green scored 0 yet again. He just seems like he's not as consistent as he should be. We had another J.R. Smith sighting, which is not optimal either. But I wonder, what's your biggest takeaway from Game 3? Let's start with Coach Carl. What did you think? I saw you watching it, then unwatching it, and watching it again. So, what were your thoughts?
I think this one can be compared to how they lost each of their previous losses during the first 3 rounds. The same question again, the same problems that they have avoided. They kept up again with turnovers, stagnant offense, and bad 3-point shooting. As mentioned earlier, Danny Green was scoreless. Then the normal marksmen were off except for Cruz and Morris today. KCP also was struggling. Caruso and Rondo were struggling as well, along with LeBron and along with AD's foul trouble. And same as what I said, I did still expect Miami to fight. When I saw the score, I was not surprised, but with how they played, I was surprised with how the Lakers played. It was so flat that it was really unexpected. So, if Bam Adebayo does decide to suit up along with Goran for Game 4, along with how the Heat play with momentum, this could be an interesting series. This just might have turned it around. I'm not saying it has already, but this could be something we have to look forward to.
Indeed, the difference between 3-0 and 2-1 is miles away, and the difference of 3-1 to 2-2 is just as large. So I don't think the Lakers can afford to give the Heat any more life. So Dom, what was your biggest takeaway from Game 3 of the NBA Finals?
I'd have to say probably the play of Jimmy Butler, because we all knew that he's the leader of this team. That's clear. But for him to actually go out and pull off that 40-point triple-double on his own, well, virtually on his own, although there was still good play from like Tyler Hero and the rest of the team, it's really impressive, and it's really commendable. But as we've established for this series, Miami is a great offensive team, so this is just a showcase of that. So they were firing on all cylinders. They were clicking. Everyone was making their shots. So they were able to be in control for this game. So when I looked at the stats, I actually noticed that Miami outscored the Lakers in each quarter. So this is an interesting note. And the Lakers were trying to get in there. But yeah, as Carl said and as you said, they were really flat. There was something lacking, and it's kind of clear to see that it could have been Danny Green, and it could have been the lackluster play from AD this game. But then, for once in this series, now we see that it's the Lakers who have to make the adjustment. And as we've seen, the Lakers can make that adjustment. They've always conceded a game in the previous rounds, and they've made the necessary adjustments to take the series. So now the ball is in the Lakers' court for them to make the adjustments and see how Game 4 plays out.
Okay. Speaking of the things they need to adjust to, one of the biggest ones was down the stretch and at the end of the quarters. When Jimmy had the ball, whoever KCP was guarding, they made them switch, and he was just sort of bullying Caldwell Pope. And Caldwell Pope isn't small, but Jimmy's one tough dude, and he's definitely, I would say quite a bit stronger than KCP is. So it's interesting to see how they'll adjust, because in the pregame, Jimmy Butler did say that he was pretty excited because they feel like if they do things right and they figured something out. I really think the biggest thing is them attacking KCP. So I'll see, and we'll all kind of tune into what the Lakers do about that. And on the Anthony Davis point, he just it's as bad as he
dropped the ball.
It's as bad as he's looked all postseason. He was a -26. I know people are gonna go off on LeBron. It's just like, because LeBron had a couple of travels here and there, a couple of offensive fouls, a few bad passes here and there, and he also walked off the court with like 10-ish seconds left, which I know a lot of people were talking about in social media, and a lot of people will talk about in the talk shows. But he was only a -4. So this is like, come on, AD, this is what they got you for. You can't be a -26 in this game. And on the point about Jimmy Butler, he did play 45 minutes. So, Dom, I'd like to hear your opinion. Can he play like this every game? Or is this just like, this is the best he can do it?
That's an interesting thing to think about. It's, that's 45 out of 48 possible minutes. So that's insane to think about. So it makes sense that Jimmy had that 40-point triple-double with that amount of minutes, but can he keep up that level of play for another, let's say this game goes to 7, the series goes to 7, can he keep that up for another 4 games? So it's something that should be monitored, I'd say, but it also depends on how if Bam and Goran can come back, because obviously that can take away the load from Jimmy.
That's true.
So it all depends. It really all depends.
I see. Okay, I agree with that. As much respect as I have from Jimmy, there's only there's a good reason why a 40-point triple-double in the NBA Finals has only been done by 3 people, because it's a really, really hard thing to do. So I'm not sure how in the world he can duplicate that or match that in the next few games. But the Heat better hope that he does, because he is the major driving force of this team. And another quick question for Coach Carl. I know you've seen it all throughout social media and you saw it during the game, but not a lot of good things happen when you try to bark at the king. So Jimmy Butler moving to the bench in the 4th quarter, he's like, they're in trouble. He was mouthing it, he was shouting it, and you saw Tyler Hero with that, kind of snarl. Not really a snarl, but I guess
a little of a mean mug.
It's kind of a mean mug, but I would probably think that got on LeBron's nerves a bit. And knowing him, how do you think he will respond in Game 4?
Definitely, we've seen this before. During even these playoffs, we've seen it. Remember Game 1 when Dame was shimmying after basically taking the air out of them. Then you have Westbrook barking. Then you had Jamal going off, I think it was Game 2 or Game 3 during that Nuggets game. And with the previous playoffs, I think the best example was Deshaun Stevenson during the Cavs-Wizards run back.
Yes.
I think we all have seen what LeBron can do when he's pissed. He has shown that he's cut from the mold of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, in terms of when they're mad, they're basically an indestructible, unstoppable force. So, and knowing LeBron, he wants to finish this as soon as possible because they're the older team here. Like, barely 4 or 5 people from their current rotation are like 24 below or 25 below. So, he also wants to finish this so that they get extra rest. As long as, especially that there's gonna be a big push. It's considering next season the league is gonna get rushed, and then the Olympics, if forbidding, will push through, and he has said he will play there. So he has. I know he will play hard, but right now at this one series he has to. If they want to finish this early, he has to.
And you have the additional thing, like, it's not just the age, but with that age comes responsibilities and your family duties. So most people do have, on the Lakers do have families and stuff. It's just, except for Kuz. Who's the the Kuz fans out there, I don't know, but he's still
they're
single.
hoping he doesn't have a family.
Yeah. Then just quick fire round of questions. Well, question. Did Anthony Davis sort of butcher his chance to get finals MVP? Coach Carl, yes or no?
I'm torn on that because as much as AD played bad, yes, the plus minus stats favor LeBron, but considering how both of them played, they played lethargic at moments, and AD was hampered by foul trouble. If no matter what happens right now, I still have AD ahead of LeBron, considering of how great he played ahead of him games 1 and 2. But if AD all of a sudden turns to second fiddle for the rest of the series, and then LeBron just goes, let's say 2018 LeBron, this is LeBron's third. So that's
okay.
My take on it.
Then you, Dom, did Anthony Davis mess it up? Yes or no?
Probably from this game, he might have. Because this was when the Lakers were on the ropes and you needed to rely on AD and he wasn't there. So LeBron was the one who had to step up. So that alone could define the rest of the series, or at least it could be the lasting impact on who can win the finals MVP. So it could be LeBron.
Yeah, that is, and gotta give credit to Jay Crowder and Iggy. They really got up into him and were playing really, really physical. It was actually a really physical game from the Miami Heat a while ago. Kinda a lot of 50-50 calls, but it is the NBA Finals. Stuff happens. So Game 4 will be Wednesday here in the Philippines, Wednesday morning, and Tuesday night over in the US. So quick picks. Who do you have winning Game 4? Dom, who you got?
I say that the Lakers come back and take this one.
Okay. What about you, Coach Carl?
Same with the close. It's gonna be close, similar to Game 2, but the Lakers will pull through.
Okay, I also have the Lakers pulling through. I just really don't see Anthony Davis being a minus 26 and scoring 15 points again. And LeBron's not gonna let Jimmy Butler outshine him. I know Jimmy Butler was saying he got the best of me for most of my career, and I feel like it's my time. When you are a player at the stature and legendary status of LeBron James, you keep them down. You don't let them get on that level.
This is definitely not LeBron's first rodeo. So
yep. So there you have it, guys. Those were our reactions from Game 3. Kind of a surprise win by the Miami Heat, and a slight look ahead to Game 4. So we'll be doing another one after Game 4. So see you then. If you like the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. And if you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions for any of our future podcasts, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. And if you haven't already yet, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. It will help us out a lot. Here's Sneaks and Ball, PH.